Let's get it, baby. Welcome back to the station. Welcome back to the channel. Y'all know it is your boy Ray G. You can find me on X at RayGQ. Got the Discord members in the building today going through my top 10 quarterbacks for the 2026 class. We got some dope information, some dope tools. I want to give it to y'all so you got an idea of who you need to be looking at as we enter the college football season that starts here in just a couple of days. This was a tough exercise. This is a much better class as far as prospects are concerned than what we just had in 2025. Cam Moore, Jackson Dart, Shador, Dylan Gabriel, Tyler Shuck. I can assure you this 2026 class is shaping up to be a lot more competitive. I'm excited for this class, man. Excited for this class. But let's get it popping. Let's start this thing off. I had a hard time ranking the 10th quarterback on this list going into the season because, you know, this is out here, man. There were a lot of quarterbacks. Darian Mensah, the Duke transfer from Tulane. Aiden Childs out of Michigan State was one of the contenders to be right here. But I settled on a Big 12 quarterback, Baylor signal caller, Sawyer Robinson, coming in at number 10 for me right now. Sawyer Robinson, a lot of experience, transferred from Mississippi State a few years ago, got his first full-time job as the starting quarterback at Baylor last year, and didn't disappoint. Put up some really big numbers. I'm using Huddle IQ. Shout out to them. They make my scouting process so easy with some of these fantastic tools over here. But 6'4", 220 pounds, was a former four-star quarterback, 3,000 yards, 28 touchdowns, 8 interceptions last year. And as big as he is, he gives you a little bit of rushing, man. He ran the ball 49 times, 347 yards for Sawyer Robinson. And you can see one of the things that I like to look at is just kind of comparing them to other quarterbacks. You can see his heat map, passes that were short, passes that were long. The yellow indicates passes close to his receiver that were long. And then the ones that are pink, the darker they are, the more on target the ball placement for Sawyer Robinson was. Those are all of his passes from the 2024 season. But I love looking at the player comparison. Kind of gives you the best similarity match, profile versus talent, what they've done. And it sort of spits out who they matched to from their performance last year. And you happen to see a quarterback that everyone knows, Cam Moore, the number 1 overall pick, a 85% match to Sawyer Robinson's sort of profile from what they did last season. One of the things that sticks out to me that I look for, CPOE, completion percentage over expected. You see Sawyer Robinson in the positive category. We will see some quarterbacks negative CPOE. It's not a death sentence by any stretch of the imagination, but you want to see that be in the positive. They're completing a higher percentage of their passes than what is just sort of given to you. And you see Cam Ward, a gold standard for that, 6% CPOE, which is really good. Chunk play rate, percent of passes that go 15 yards, 22% for Sawyer Robinson. Explosive plays, pass attempts that go 30-plus yards down the field. You'll see him right there at 7%. So this is, he's got a good profile. He's experienced. He's a big quarterback playing the Big 12. He's one of the preseason candidates to be a Big 12 quarterback, Big 12 player of the year. So there's a lot of hype around Sawyer Robinson. I've been here before with Baylor quarterbacks. So I want to see it come to fruition, but no doubt that he's going to be on a lot of people's radar and early watch list to be a strong contender to move up the ranks here in 2025. So Sawyer Robinson out of Baylor, keep your eyes and ears peeled for him. Coming in at number 9, a player really excited about, player who at SEC Media Day talked about his head coach and the offense that he runs with Bobby Petrino, talking about watching players like Lamar Jackson. So anytime you hear Lamar's name be invoked with the quarterback prospect, you get excited. Now, we know there's only one Lamar Jackson, but Taylen Green, the quarterback out of Arkansas, very toolsy. He transferred over from Boise State as well. So he had some maturation and growth that he had to go through. So you can't hold all the production against him. So you look at what he did here in 2024, the former 4-star quarterback, 6'6", 220 pounds from Louisville, Texas, right up the road from your boy. He can fly. 3,100 passing yards last year, only 15 touchdowns, 9 interceptions, sacked 29 times. You see the chunk plays. Those are the percent of plays that go 15 or more yards, 77 of those to 16 plays that went 30-plus yards. He also gave you close to 800 yards and 8 touchdowns on the ground. So, again, an SEC quarterback transferred from Boise State, took some time to get acclimated to the SEC. And when you look at some of his comparable metrics, that CPOE that we talked about with Sawyer Robinson, negative 0.02%, 60% completion percentage. You want to see a success rate go up, but some of the names that are on the screen with Taylen Green. You got Jalen Milroe, third-round pick of the Seattle Seahawks last year, and LaNorris Sellers, whom we'll talk about a little bit later. His EPA per pass attempt, low, 0.02. That has got to raise up. You want that much higher. You want that 0.2, 0.3, 0.29 like Darian Mensah that's playing at Duke this year. This is a tools and a traits kind of quarterback. Taylen Green can play. He's got the size. He's got the athleticism. He's playing in the SEC. So if he can pull it together, whether it's in 2026 or if he stays another season, because he does also have that potential to come back to college again, he's going to be one of those names that's on the radar. He's talented. He's got to make it happen, especially in a world where a lot of people are skeptical, real skeptical, and just like those true running quarterbacks, you got to be able to do something with your arm. Taylen Green out of Arkansas, he's coming in at number 9 for me. At number 8, we're going to go to a familiar name in a new place of Nico Iamaleava, UCLA's starting quarterback. It's a picture of him at Tennessee here. Ironically, the quarterback who was starting at UCLA last year has taken his talents to Tennessee. He was just named the starting quarterback at Tennessee. But Nico Iamaleava, his name was all in the news because why? Nico, he wanted to get paid. He wanted to transfer. He wants to take advantage of his name, his image, and his likeness. And Tennessee didn't quite like jump at that opportunity to give him top dollar. Long saga ensued, and now he is at UCLA. So Nico Iamaleava at Tennessee last season, expectations were sky high for this former 5-star quarterback, one of the top players in his class, 6'6", 215 pounds, from California. So he's back home. 2,500 yards last year, 19 touchdowns. He also gave you 486 yards on the ground. When you're looking at just his kind of quarterback heat map, he was fine. I think for me, watching him last season, I said multiple times, this doesn't feel like a guy, because people were excited about Nico, right? Like, oh, he could be, this is the number 1 overall pick, no doubt about it. I'm watching him early, and I'm like, I don't know about that. There were some areas of his game which definitely needs to clean up. We talk about chunk plays versus explosive plays. Green had 77 of them last year to 56 chunk plays, 15-plus yards for Nico. Explosive plays, only 14 for Nico Iamaleava. And let's look at some of his comparable players and metrics. EPA per pass attempt, 0.1, so that's better than the 0.05, 0.02 that we saw from Taylen Green. But again, you want that to be a little bit higher. Negative CPOE. I want that number in the positive. 17% chunk play rate, only 5% explosive play rate. So for a quarterback who is heralded is Nico Iamaleava, you want to see him at UCLA really take command of that offense, push the ball downfield, show better consistency from the pocket, and then more explosive plays. I think there's a lot of talent left in this quarterback. I know he got a bad rap, and unfortunately for him, that is something that he's going to have to overcome in his journey to be, one of these top high-level franchise difference makers. But coming into this season, where I've got him, I think QB 8 in that range, inside of my top 10. I'm not all the way out on Iamaleava yet. We know everybody's not going to be a damn first-round pick. So can he develop himself into a draft-eligible, day 2 type quarterback? I think he can do that. There was a point in time last season where people thought that Penn State quarterback Drew Allar should declare. People were excited. If Drew Allar comes out, he's a top 5 pick, whatever the case may be, during the stretch of that playoff run, and they quickly kind of backtracked on that. Drew Allar's got all the physical tools, all of the talent, all the measurables, all of that stuff. He's got all of that. He can make every throw. He's a lot more mobile than people give him credit for. Last season, 3,300 yards. Let me pull it up real quick. 3,300 yards for Allar through the air, 24 touchdowns, 8 interceptions, 84 chunk plays. Those are 15-plus yard pass attempts, 84 of them bad boys, 15 explosives, and again, 66 rush attempts, 426 yards for Drew Allar. You look at some of the pass placement right here, thanks to Huddle IQ, you can see you want to see some more tightness there, right? Get those passes on target. But I'm looking at the left, and I'm looking at similarity score of some players who had similar sort of data points as Drew Allar. And you could see right here, I mean, his EPA per pass attempt, 0.20, very good. Dylan Gabriel, 0.24. You got Cam Ward, 0.31. Just when they're throwing the ball, they're adding so much value to their team. Success rate, higher, right there in line. Cam Ward, 55%, 54% for Drew Allar, CPOE, completion percentage over expected, 1.6%. So he's in the positive, which is very, very good. His explosive play rate, 30-plus yard pass attempts, 0.49. So you want to generate bigger plays in this Penn State offense, and he's going to have an opportunity to do that because they continue to replenish the wide receiver position. He's going to have one of the best running back tandems with Nicholas Singleton and Katron Allen as well. There's a lot to prove here. I've got Drew Allar at 7. Some people may not like this. Some people may feel this is a little too low for him, but it's the consistency, right? It's that fire. It's him going out there and being that guy. Him going out there and being that dude. And I think, my friend Damian Parson, and I'm going to pull up a clip. I had some plays that I wanted to kind of show y'all. Let me pull that up. DP, Damian Parson, a scout over at Bleacher Report. You can see right here on the screen. Going back through Drew Allar, I'm lower on him than I was during the 24 season, but he does things like this to pull you right back in. You see, versus Oregon, right? He's got a defender draped all over him. He's got the arm strength to fire that ball into tight coverage for a touchdown. He's got all the tools in the world to be a high-level quarterback. I got to just see some more consistency out of Allar in 2025. So big season for him. And now we are quarterback 6. Now it's tough because you're trying to project some different situations versus some things that we kind of saw in small flashes last season on their old teams. And we're projecting that positive outcome with their new situations. And I know a lot of people are very excited about this next quarterback. Fernando Mendoza out of Indiana is next up. This is a transfer. He played at Cal last season and transferred over to Indiana. He's got Elijah Surratt. He's going to be throwing the ball too. This was an offense that produced a very good quarterback last season, not as far as from an NFL draft standpoint, but when you're talking about Mendoza, 6'5", 225 pounds. Let me pull it up right now because a lot of people are like, who is Fernando Mendoza? Last season at Cal, 3,062 yards, 16 touchdowns, only 6 interceptions, 67 chunk plays, 11 explosive plays, and he gave you 329 yards rushing on the ground. You see his pass placement chart, and honestly, you can see the throws that were long. This is very different. You just rewind and look at Allar and how tight sort of the balls were in relation to the receiver that's on the screen. Mendoza's looks a little bit more inconsistent and erratic than Drew Allar, but the talent, when you watch him on tape, and I'm going to pull this up, you can kind of see some of his big play ability right here on the screen. Mendoza, quarterback number 15, right here, we're in a money zone situation, pressure in his face, and just a seed to the wide receiver over the shoulder of the defender. He's got a lot of talent. He's going to be put in a really good situation this season. That is Fernando Mendoza. Will he capitalize on it? We shall see. But I do know some people who have him as the top-rated quarterback in the 2026 class. So big season for new starting quarterback at Indiana, Fernando Mendoza. So I've gone through QBs 10 through 6. QB 10 was tough. Sawyer Robinson coming in at QB 10. Taylen Green, the quarterback out of Arkansas, my QB 9. Nico Iamaleava, UCLA's quarterback, as transferred from Tennessee last year, coming in at QB 8. Drew Allar out of Penn State, QB 7. Fernando Mendoza, QB 6. So the top 5 guys in 2026, a player that everybody has talked about. Every single person that does NFL draft content has talked about the high upside and the talent of South Carolina quarterback LaNorris Sellers. LaNorris Sellers coming in at my QB 4. And this is a dude who could absolutely end up as the number 1 overall quarterback off of the board when we get to next April. All the physical tools, arm strength, speed, SEC competition. He can make all of the throws. Common theme, right, with a lot of these quarterbacks. Consistency for LaNorris Sellers. Last year, 2,500 yards through the air, 18 touchdowns, 6 interceptions, 31 sacks for LaNorris Sellers last year, 60 chunk plays, and 20 explosives, 20-plus plays, 20 plays that went 30-plus yards, 829 rushing yards for LaNorris Sellers. Let me pull up his stats right here on the Huddle IQ page, and you can see him. A lot fewer pass attempts than some of the other quarterbacks, so you don't see as many as many balls around the receiver on the image, but not as bad as people make it seem. There are absolutely some easy throws that he missed, some things that he needs to clean up, but not as bad for a quarterback with far less volume. So let's just take a look at some similar players in the LaNorris Sellers range and some of the things that we talked about and identified that we like to see from some of the high-level quarterbacks that he has or does not have. His explosive play rate, 7.6%, would love to see that much higher as we go through the season. Sack percentage, 9.6%, which is fine. His completion percentage over expected is positive as well. It's the EPA per pass attempt, right? Need to do more with those pass attempts to help. And a lot of that is his team. Wide receiver play, offensive play, but I want to see him be better on a per pass attempt basis in 2025. And again, Sellers he's a young guy, but he's got a lot of experience. It's a common theme here with these quarterbacks in 2026 and beyond is they all have a lot of experience. And that's something that we've seen the NFL prioritize. We've seen the NFL value these quarterbacks that can come in and operate an offense. Say what you want about Jackson Dart or Bo Nix. They've got the experience to come in and handle an NFL playbook. LaNorris Sellers, the talent. You see this video right here. I tweeted this out in May. He's got all the physical tools to be the number 1 overall pick. You just see his ability, right? And I know a lot of times I want to see him throw the ball, but with his legs, when the X's and O's break down, he can do things that very few quarterbacks can do. And I want him to continue to do this. Play within your game. Be who you are, but we do need to see a level of consistency from the pocket. The legs are no doubt there. He's got the size. He's got the pedigree. Can LaNorris Sellers develop from the pocket here in 2025 to really improve that draft stock? I'm not going to bet against him. So LaNorris Sellers, for me, going into the season, is a top 5 quarterback in 2026. Now we get into top 4 guys. And this is a fun class. And I don't know if there's a player that I'm more excited about, probably because I am in on his wide receiver being the best wide receiver in the 2026 NFL draft. So you've got the best receiver, and then you've got an ultra-skilled quarterback who could do it on the ground with his legs, but he could shred you from the pocket. You've got a combination for a lot of fun things. Shout out to Damian Parson from Bleacher Report. He said that he reminds him of a more toolsy version of San Francisco 49ers quarterback Brock Purdy, and I'm talking about Sam Leavitt from Arizona State. Everything that Dillingham is putting around him, the things that he's saying, sounds like he's really challenging Sam Leavitt to step it up this year and be the guy that a lot of people think he can be, which is people think he could be the number 1 overall quarterback in this draft. You see last season, 2,900 passing yards, 24 touchdowns, 6 interceptions. He had 62 chunk plays, 15-plus yards, and 20 30-plus yard plays. He also ran the ball for 532 yards with 5 touchdowns. That was Sam Leavitt last year. Now, he doesn't have to declare. I mean, he's got, I believe, another season or 2 of eligibility remaining at Arizona State. But if he plays well, right? And chaos is what I was heard to describe how Sam Leavitt plays. And you see his passing chart, far more attempts than we talked about with LaNorris Sellers. And this chart, just off the eye test, looks to be a little more all over the place than where Sellers was. But you see right here, his EPA per pass attempt, 0.15, not as good as Drew Allar, but better than some of the other quarterbacks on the list. CPOE, negative. That's a thing that a couple of these quarterbacks have in common, negative CPOE, which means just with everything surrounding him, nearest defender, offensive situation, down and distance, like he's zeros, like you're just doing as expected. Below that, you're doing a little less than you should be doing. So he definitely has some area to clean up. 62% completion percentage. Want to see that move up as well, but it's the playmaking ability of the Arizona State quarterback. If you've never seen him play, just go pull up some stats. He's a gunslinger. Can Dillingham reel him in this season, keep him on schedule? He's going to have every opportunity to do it with Jordan Tyson. Jordan Tyson is my wide receiver 1 in the class, number 1 rated wide receiver for me going into the 2025 season, 2026 eligible. Sam Leavitt's going to have every opportunity to step up. I'm not going as high as QB1 yet, but he's comfortably inside of my top 5. So Sam Leavitt coming in at number 5. And then number 3, familiar name, familiar place. I was higher on him probably about a month and a half ago, and I'm still incredibly high. I think he's probably one of the few that are like more pro ready to come out right now. Experience, his ability to run the ball. Cade Klubnik out of Clemson. And this is not a knock on Cade Klubnik at all. I still feel, again, if you were to say right now, who is the one that is most pro ready, you think can operate in NFL offense today if they were asked, and by today I mean, at the time that they're drafted, I still believe that player is Cade Klubnik out of Clemson. This is a former 4-star, 5-star, depending on the service that you're looking at, recruit out of Austin, Texas. And he's played with Dabo Swinney for his entire collegiate career. And we know that he's continued to put quarterbacks into the NFL. 3,700 passing yards last year for Cade Klubnik, 35 touchdowns to only 6 interceptions. So when you're talking about one of the better throwers in this class, that is absolutely Cade Klubnik. You see 80 chunk plays, 24 explosives, and that's on top of 600 rushing yards for Cade Klubnik. You look at his passing chart just right here, much like the tightest, cleanest one that we've seen, and he by far has thrown the ball more than anybody else, 482 pass attempts. So there's nothing to really question about Cade Klubnik. There will be some people who question his size, 6'2", right at 200 pounds. He's not a big guy. Look at his EPA per pass attempt, 0.15. We just talked about the 63% completion percentage, positive CPOE, 6.5%, explosive play rate. You see Dillon Gabriel, a name that compares similarly to Cade Klubnik and what he was asked to do. He's good. He's got a lot of weapons. I see people in the chat saying he's got a lot of weapons. He's got a lot of weapons. I question, and I hate doing this early, but when I'm looking at the top 2 guys, I think they've got a little more upside. I think there's a little more high-end quarterback potential for both of those guys. One a little more proven, another one a little more risky of a bet. But Klubnik on his own, in his own, he holds himself up as the QB1 in this class, right? I'm not going to knock anybody. This is just my projections going into the season, what I want to see some of these guys do. Klubnik's going to be right there. He's going to be right there as the top dog drafted. He's going to be right there as one for, fantasy football purposes. He can do both because he can throw the damn ball and he can run it, which more so than anything, we want our quarterbacks to be able to deliver the football. So Cade Klubnik coming in at number 3. I love the top 2 guys. I'm a big fan of Cade Klubnik, the top 2 guys. Number 2, I'm probably the most excited to see play this season. Another transfer. The transfer portal has just done wonders for the type of players and the caliber of cats that we get to see play. But if everything clears out from the potential gambling scandal, you got to watch Oklahoma this fall. John Mateer. I am very, very pro John Mateer. His ability to throw the ball and run the ball. That's what I love. Passing and throwing. If you can do them things, I'm in. And John Mateer last season at Washington State, and let's not forget, man, there was a transfer that came from left Washington State, went to a new school, and it worked out pretty well for us, and his name was Cam Ward. But last season at Washington State, John Mateer, 3,200 passing yards, 29 touchdowns, 7 interceptions. He had 78 chunk plays, 15-plus yards, 26 30-plus yard plays last year, and that's on top of 1,006 yards on the ground and 15 rushing touchdowns. 3,000 through the air, 1,000 on the ground. And if you're not watching, I highly suggest you watch because this is all the data, right? Hey, Mateer, you gotta reel it in. Bring some of the gunslinger in. You see the dots on the passing chart, the relative to the receiver, a little bit. This might be the most damn sporadic one we've seen yet from John Mateer. But when you're looking at his production and some of the things that he did well from a passing perspective on his team, here are some of the comparable, similar players of John Mateer who's playing at Oklahoma. You got Arch Manning up there, but he only had 192 plays. You got Jackson Dart. A lot of people like Jackson Dart. His name right here, 85.8% match. And then you got Darian Mensah, one of the players that I really wanted to have inside this top 10, right outside the new Duke quarterback. EPA per pass attempt, 0.27. Love it. Highest of all the ones that we've talked about so far. Net passing yards per attempt, 8.2. Very good. Completion percentage, 64%. And his CPOE, negative 1.1. That's got to improve. That's got to improve. You want that to be higher, and you expect that with some of the weapons that he's going to have at Oklahoma. But we've got a 9% explosive play rate. I will take that. A 23.9% chunk play rate. I will take that as well. And then when he runs the ball, pretty damn dynamic. Jackson Dart, EPA per rush attempt last year, 0.23. John Mateer, 0.34. 3,200 passing yards, 1,000 yards on the ground. There are people saying, reminds them of Baker Mayfield. 6'1", about 220 pounds. He can make every single throw. The arm talent is not a question here. Let me pull up a few. I got a few. Here it is right here. Oklahoma quarterback John Mateer has never seen a throw he didn't like, can spin it from all types of funky arm angles. You see him right here, kind of off balance, and just the sheer arm strength, the anticipation. And Washington State was no powerhouse here. I'm not trying to talk about the Cougars. They were no powerhouse team. So going to Oklahoma, better team, more talented weapons around them, and that guy that we like for the New England Patriots right now, Kyle Williams, he had John Mateer as his quarterback. So I think this is going to be one of the players that takes a massive, massive step forward in 2025, and I'm very excited to watch his maturation. Is it going to play out? We shall see, but I'm excited about John Mateer going into the season, my QB2 in the 2026 class. So we went through everybody, but when I think about the top dog going into the season, he's playing in the SEC. You're talking about a big-time producer. When he first got his opportunity to step up for Jaden Daniels, when he sat out the bowl game, he shredded in the bowl game. First full season under Brian Kelly. Yes, I'm going to the Bayou Bengals. Garrett Nussmeier, QB1 in the class. Garrett Nussmeier, QB1 in 2026. He's got a big season as well. Nussmeier, big season, a lot of expectations on the LSU Tigers, and this is a veteran quarterback. He's experienced. He's done it before, and I expect him to come through fully this fall and really kind of cement himself as that top dog in the class. So Garrett Nussmeier, looking at his season last year, 4,100 yards, 4,154, threw the ball 523 times, 28 touchdowns, 12 interceptions, and Nussbus, not what you're going to call a dynamic runner of the football. That's not his game. That's not his area. He's got good pocket mobility, but he's not going to run. This is what you want him to do. A gunslinger, a quarterback that can go out there and rip off 3, 4, 5, 6 straight games of 300-plus passing yards, multiple passing touchdowns, and he's going to have the weapons here at LSU to make it happen. So let's look at some of his advanced metrics. 0.17 EPA per pass attempt, CPOE, positive, we want that higher. Explosive play rate, lower at 4.8%, 20% chunk play rate. Yards per completion, 12 for Garrett Nussmeier. Some of the comparable players got Seth Hennigan out of Memphis last year, Miller Moss, USC's former quarterback. So he's got the weapons, right? I see people in the chat saying he's got the weapons. He could have, like Burrow-type numbers with the type of weapons that are around him. He's got a strong running game this year, and more importantly, it's his second year in this system as the starting quarterback, right? His second full season. Now, there's some medical stuff surrounding him right now. The knee, apparently there was some knee stuff during the spring or during the fall practices, but every report is he's been practicing through that. Not a damn issue whatsoever. So a big opportunity for a lot of these quarterbacks going into this fall. College football starts in a couple of days, and all eyes are going to be peeled on Garrett Nussmeier, who a lot of people think could be the QB1 in this class. So that's what it is. Those are my top 10 quarterbacks going in to this college football season. This is guaranteed to be an exciting one, a fun one. We got a lot of dope stuff that we can look at, so we're going to keep this thing going. Rookie mocks, NFL mock drafts, getting through those top 10 running backs, wide receivers. We're going to talk about those throughout the week leading up to week 1 of college football. So I appreciate everybody being in the building. Those of y'all who are in here early, some of my Discord members, shout out to y'all crazy people who wanted to just run through some ball talk with some of these college football prospects. And those of y'all that are new to the channel, hit the thumbs up button, like the content, subscribe. A lot of dope stuff coming on this channel throughout the season regarding this 2026 NFL draft class. Make sure you check out Wake Up, the live show, Monday, Wednesday, and Friday on the channel. Appreciate everybody being in the building, man. Gino, Richie, Terrell, Nick, Ty DeClaire, Doc Harris. Appreciate y'all being here to talk a little 2026 NFL draft class. Much love to y'all out there. I'm out. Peace.